Hello, welcome to Exclam Chess. In this video, I'm going to be analyzing a game that was played on chess.com by PatternRecognition. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so Carol Khan, advanced variation. Okay, so bishop d3. This probably isn't the best way to challenge black in the Carol Khan, because this bishop isn't exactly black's best piece, and so if he can exchange it off, it's not really bad for him. It's pretty good, because also after this exchange happens, white has more space on the board, and black can usually become a little bit more cramped in a Carol Khan. And so getting rid of pieces winds up helping black, makes his game easier to play. And notice after the move e6, all of black's pawns are on light squares for the most part, and so getting rid of that bishop makes it easier for black, because now all these pawns would have been on the same color as that bishop and could have potentially gotten in its way. Okay, knight to e2, knight d7, knight g3. Not sure if I agree with that, moving the same piece twice in the opening. Queen to c7. Usually in the opening you want to avoid moving the queen, because you want to get out your other pieces first. And also, right here, black actually has a great opportunity, because the move c5 is very important in the Carol Khan. And it's very important to put pressure on the center. And right now, black can just go ahead and do that immediately. And so that would have probably been a great move to go ahead with, and I would say that black would be doing very well out of the opening. Okay, queen to c7, white castles, and black castles queenside. I'm also not sure that I would have castled queenside, because again, that break c5 is very important in the Carol Khan. And if your king is castled on the queen side, then pushing this c-pawn break would be pushing the pawns that are in front of your own king. And so it would be slightly less safe to do that when your king is castled over on the queen side. Okay, a3, h5, advancing the pawns on the opposite side of the board of your king, trying to march towards the castled white king on the king side and gaining space. h3, h4, knight e2, and f6. f4, c5. And now that c5 break is played, I actually like what PatternRecognition wrote about this move. He writes that I call this the Homer Simpson method of chess, because some problems can only be solved by breaking stuff. And yeah, that's true. In this opening, you really need to make sure you're playing your breaks, so like c5. And so I agree with that. I actually love The Simpsons as well, so I appreciate what he wrote about that move. Okay, bishop to e3 and f5. It may have been better to maintain the tension, he writes, as well. Okay, so that is actually very true as well. It may have been better to keep the tension on the center with these pawns, because you got all these pawns attacking the center. I would have just left that there and kept the pawn tension. And maybe have played something like knight to e7, with the idea of knight to f5, and maybe trying to get into some of those weak squares. But in a game, sometimes pawn tension can be difficult to know when to keep it, when to give up on it. But in this case, I think it would have been better to keep that tension. Okay, queen d2, h6, b takes c5, bishop takes c5, b4, bishop takes e3. just going quickly through these next few moves, there's a certain one that I want to get to. I think it's at a few more moves coming up. King H2. Here it is. Okay, so right here, PatternRecognition wrote that this move seems flawed. So let's try to look for a reason as to why this move is flawed. Okay, so let's look at the kings. So let's see here. They're on opposite wings of the board. In a battle of opposite wing castling, each tempo becomes very important. And this move, king to h2, isn't using that tempo to the fullest. Because in a battle of opposite wing castling, usually the first side that can break through with an attack is usually the side to win. And so right here, white should really probably have thought about how he can break through. And so if you are to have played a move like b5, then he'd be breaking up the pawns around the king. Because obviously you don't want to allow this to happen and then get your queen entombed on a8. And so black more or less so has to take. And then after a6, then you can't play b takes a6 because then the knight's jumping in, forking the king and queen. And so then queen b6, and after this position, I think that white would be doing very well, because also after a move like this, the rook coming over, then black's not even going to have an extra pawn. He's just going to be in a lot of trouble. And so this is probably why that move king to h2 would have been a big flaw, because here white had an opportunity to create a lot of pressure on black, and he didn't take that opportunity. So yes, that move would be very flawed. Okay, now back to the game. g5, queen c3, he takes f4, he takes c6. Actually, wait, let me go back one move. Okay, right here, actually, I probably wouldn't have captured on c2. Because of all that pressure that I saw in some of those other variations, like the one that I showed a moment ago, I would be very eager to get queens off the board. So I probably would have captured with the queen, just for safety, to make sure that I didn't get put under any large attacks. So that's probably what I may have considered, just to stay safe. Okay, rook takes c2, queen takes a7, king takes a7. And rook g1. This is a very big mistake. I guess white didn't realize this pin. It looks like this pawn on g2 is defending the f3 square, preventing this fork. But no, because if I try to make that move, the computer won't let me. So yeah. So now white's just going to lose his rook for the knight. We'll be down in exchange. And so now black's doing very well. He's got this powerful rook on the second rank. And he's got an extra exchange. And so it's looking pretty ugly for white, especially because he could have had that very good variation with that pawn break with the b5 move, and then have that massive attack. Now it's looking very good for black. Yeah, and so there's only a few more moves left to the game, so let's just get to the final position, take a look. And after knight takes b4 check, this is where white resigned. So this is what the end of the game looked like. And white definitely is down a lot of material. And so it's probably not worth playing on at this point. Okay, so the biggest thing that we can take away from this game is to note the positions of the kings. If you see that your opponent's king is on the opposite wing of yours, then you need to realize that it's time to hit your opponent with everything you have and make every move count. In this game, White didn't fully realize that he had an opportunity and then suffered in the end, as Black was then able to win a significant amount of material and then win the game. Okay, so that is all for this video. Thank you for watching.